All right, so welcome back. So in this video, we're going to take a look at our equipment tab here. So if we go ahead and click into here, again, what you'll see is a basic little table here. This just gives you some high level information of your equipment, you know, what it's categorized, where it is housed, that sort of stuff. Let me go ahead and clear this out because I'm still on Daxion HQ. There we go. Where things are housed, when their due dates are, the last time inspections were completed. If this piece of equipment has an expiration date, you'll actually see that here. None of these happen to have it currently, so there are no expiration dates. And then you can also see how often these inspections are due. Likewise, what the status of the inspection is, or sorry, rather, what the status of the equipment is, if it's still an active piece of equipment or if it's been deemed inactive. Okay, so on the filters, I'll do a quick walkthrough. I'm not going to spend too much time since I did already kind of demo the filtering mechanism here, but right now there's some basic filter settings that you can implement, but I will say we're currently in the works of making updates to this entire thing here to give you a little bit more fine-grained control of the inventory management of this so that you can actually start having a real control over inventory counts, and kind of getting a view of where groups of inventory live and that sort of stuff. So this is pretty simple right now, but this is going to start expanding out rather rapidly here in the coming weeks and months as we start adding new features into this to make this more inventory control as well. But yeah, there are some filters you can do. You can give ranges of when you want to look at due dates for. Maybe you don't want to look at the whole year. You can actually just, I only want to look at inspections that are actually due this month or this week or something like that. So there's like date ranges here that you can filter by, as well as inspection categories or types and what intervals. Right, everything's monthly, so we only have a monthly option. But you can actually, if you wanted to filter only on others, you can actually do that. Okay, so we'll clear the filters out. All right, so what I'll do real quick is we'll actually dive into the details page of one of these and see what that looks like. So if we come in here and we will click on the uh, name, another point to note is you can either click on the name or you can actually click on this view button over here. They both take you to the same place. It's just whatever is easiest to click on. Um, And let me actually go back and see if I've got one that's got some inspections logged here. I think this lanyard's got a few. Okay, cool. So this gives us a little bit better overview of what you may actually see in the real world here. So yeah, so you have kind of a basic placard up here that gives you when's your next due date. This will change colors based on your due date. So if it is past due, I think if it's actually on its due date, it'll be orange or yellow, and then if it's past due, this date will be highlighted in red. Same with your closure rate. If you dip below a 90% closure rate, you'll see this highlighted in red. Just kind of bring your attention that your closure rate's low, that sort of stuff. Um, Now, also here, there are a list of inspections that have been completed, and you can see that these are automatically sorted by the most recent will be on top. So you have the option to actually view the inspection. So you can come in here and look at some information of the inspection, serial number, the description, what it's called, who's it assigned to, if there's a model number, all that information will be up here, and then as well as the inspection form. And so what's been filled out, this is not editable. This is a stale document, basically. It lives only as long as it was open, and as soon as the inspection is logged, it is no longer an editable document. The other thing is you can download this into a PDF if you need, and it will um, spit out a PDF document that basically just pumps the same general information in here. Into a very generic PDF. One of the things that we're also working on is kind of sprucing this up a bit to where you can add in your company logos and that sort of stuff. So this is still very much an early release of the PDF piece, but we wanted to make sure that you at least had the ability to get it out into a printable paper document in the event that you needed that. So it is available, but this will start looking a lot better, a lot more professional here in the near future as well. All right, so that is the basic overview of looking at an actual logged inspection, and it's all the same, right? For anyone that you look at, you're going to see the same stuff, just a filled out form with the same basic information, right? So, um, likewise, there's a download PDF. If you don't want to go view it, you just like, hey, I need to grab this PDF real quick. You can do that from here as well. You just come in here, click on it, and it'll download the PDF immediately, just like we saw. Okay. So the inspection log, similar to the entire inspection log, if you just want to get the inspection log for this one piece of equipment, you can do that as well. So you can see that now what it has is these are all lanyards, right? And so you can see that we've basically just exported out this table sort of as a one-for-one um, with the same information. But if you want it in a CSV or something where you can give it for audits or anything like this, you have the ability to also export out this entire table into a CSV file that you can open in Excel or something. Um, cool. And then here we have a log new inspection. So there's oftentimes where you need to perform inspections and you just want to do it from the web browser. Maybe you don't want to or don't need to do it from the mobile application and scan QR codes and all that stuff. Absolutely fine. So you have the same ability here to come out here, fill out this form. This is the same form you would see if you scan the QR code through the app or scanned an RFID chip through the app. You'll get the same code, the same form document with the same question down here. What's the disposition of this form? Was it a pass or fail? And then you can submit that form. I'm not going to submit a new one currently, but that option is there as well. And then if we move over here to this big card on the right, the last bit of in the details, as you can kind of see, we got a big representation of the QR code. This is scannable. Um, you can right click and actually save it, download it, whatever you want to do. If you want to print these out yourself, you're more than welcome to also print these onto sticker paper and cut them out yourself. If you don't want to wait on the turnaround for us to send them to you, or however you want to approach it, maybe that's easier. You have that option here. Um, Also, you get kind of the basic information overview of the piece of equipment here. So this is sort of, a description. What kind of equipment is it labeled as? This is a PPE. Its inspection interval is required monthly. It's assigned to test user 2, and the form that's associated with it is here. And you can change all of these details by just coming up here and clicking this little edit button. So if you come in here, you click the edit button, it'll take you to this edit form where you could come in here and change the, maybe we wanted to actually label this as rescue equipment or something instead, or we wanted to reassign it to, maybe we'll stick this on a new site and it's been moved to a different user or something, right? Whatever. You have all the options to change these things, and you can actually come in and edit all this stuff. And so I'll leave it out on a new site, and we'll just update it. And you can see that this has been changed to rescue, and likewise, if we come out here to manage equipment, you can see it's actually been assigned to new site. So if you remember earlier when we did the new site, nothing showed up. Here it is. Now we can filter by new site and actually see stuff. So yeah, so that is the basic overview page of any particular piece of equipment. You can also, if you just want to edit something, you don't need to drill all the way in. You can just come here, click the edit button directly, and it will take you to the same form here. All right. So next, let's go ahead and look at how to create a piece of equipment. So it's relatively simple, right? You click on add new equipment, and it's going to take you to this page where you can do exactly that. You can come in here and add a new equipment. Equipment. Mine went a little blank there. and you can do like a test description. One thing to note is the only fields that are actually required are the fields that have these red asterisks next to them. So if they don't have a red asterisk, you don't actually need to fill them out. And we'll say, just to change it up, we'll say this one is we'll say it's a bi-weekly inspection, since everything is already monthly. And we'll give this kind of the generic category of equipment. And, we'll say this doesn't actually belong to anybody. We've only got one form right now. And so what I'll do is actually leave it blank for the time being, and then we can assign it to a site, and we'll say, this belongs to Daxion HQ. And the inspection due date. So one thing to note, everything has to have an inspection due date. The inspection due dates are required because we have to be able to generate the actual inspections. And so even if there's no sort of compliance due date, I would recommend that you just pick some time that you would like to recurrently inspect it, even if it's, just for your um, own use for tracking. That's fine. Maybe it's not a compliance date, and that's fine. And maybe you can't get to it. Well, you can always go edit the due date, right? So, but we do require it so that we can actually generate the inspections to actually take advantage of the application here. And for this thing, we'll go ahead and I'm going to give it an expiration date so I don't clutter up the database with too many unnecessary inspections. And so the way that we generate inspections is when you provide the next due date, we will take this date and we will take the interval that it is required. And for the next 24 months, we will actually look out and go generate every inspection biweekly from this date for the next two, excuse me, for the next 2 weeks for the next up to the 24-month mark. And then every time you complete an inspection, we go generate a new inspection on the tail end of that and add it to the end. So you always have this revolving 24 months of inspections that are available to you. And we do that for a simple reason so that you can look out into the future and see over the course of time when things are due. So it helps you with operational planning and the logistics of getting these things done. That's the simple reason why we plan out so far, is to try and make your life a little bit easier for planning. The one caveat is if you put an expiration date here, we will only generate inspections up to the expiration date. So because I don't want to fill the database with a bunch of inspections, I can put an expiration date here, and we will never generate another inspection even after we fill one out that is beyond the date here. So go ahead and hit create, let this work its magic. And we can see that our new equipment here has been logged, and you can actually see that, oh, we've got an expiration date here. So if I wanted to filter that, I could actually sort on expiration date, get that up here at the top. If I come in here and go to new equipment, you'll see that the QR code has been generated already. All the inspections that are necessary have been generated in the background. But what you'll notice is that there's a little form here, or a little button here that says select form. And the reason that this is here is usually there's a log inspection button, but you can't really log an inspection if we don't know what form you need. So before you can log any inspections, you actually need to come in here, select a form. And this is why I intentionally left this blank so that I could demonstrate this use. So we've only got this one form, but we'll go ahead and hit save. And now you'll see our log inspection button has shown up. So that is the create new I still spelt equipment wrong. Let me go fix that. Equipment. There we go. So go ahead and update that, and boom, there it's fixed. Okay, so last thing here, let's go ahead and look at a kit, and let's dive into what it looks like to build a kit, and then we'll go look at the differences in viewing kits. So what is a kit? I guess first let's define what exactly this is, so you know when to use it and when it might be applicable to you creating new equipment. So essentially, the way we're defining the kit here is if you have a group of components that need to be maintained all together under a single inspection um, interval, or they comprise all the separate components have their own little inspection, or they can be interchanged out of the whole collective, then that's what a kit would be, right? So a great example of this is rescue equipment. Rescue equipment is typically not a single item, but it's also typically not useful without all of the components within it. So whenever you do an inspection on a piece of rescue equipment, um, you're going to be inspecting all of the components that make up that entire piece of equipment, not just carabiners or rope or whatever the mechanisms may be inside it. So what we've done is we've taken that general idea and we've actually expanded this out to you could use a kit to maintain any sort of group of items that you want to have some sort of overview on or inventory on, where the main the main component is sort of the parent of all these, and then you can think of the components themselves as the children that live within the kit. So if you look at the form here, it's got two components, and both of these are collapsible. So we've got the kit details and then the kit components here. And so in the kit details, this is just like creating a new piece of equipment. It's the exact same form. And what this will do is this will actually, we'll say this is a new kit here, and um, if the kit itself has a serial number or a model number, this is great if you're manufacturing rescue equipment or anything like that. Um, Another use case may be if you have, say, you're issuing out PPE, a set of PPE as a kit to an individual. You could actually put it all into a kit where you have, say you're doing working at heights PPE and you have harness and lanyards and lad safe and hard hats, whatever may be comprised of that. One way you could present that is you could use one of our RFID chips, attach it to the actual climbing bag that houses all the equipment, and when you scan that, you actually get the benefit of being able to inspect those individual components, your harness, your lanyards, all those things, as well as sort of getting an inventory look of what's in that existing kit. So if you have an on-site safety representative that is responsible for doing these compliance inspections, they can actually make sure that two technicians didn't actually accidentally swap their lanyards, and if they did, they'd be able to say, okay, well, this lanyard's serial number doesn't match, I need to find it and assign it back to the right kit. So it gives you a little bit of inventory control built in as well. And then this is going to be also expanded out greatly to really take advantage of the inventory aspect that we can get out of this. So this is very much in its infancy right now. This is a new implementation, but we are really driving this to include tool bag kits, all kinds of things that you could manage, and you want to kind of get a view of who's checking things in and out, who's using them, where they're going. So maybe it's not necessarily inspections per se, but maybe you want to actually just be able to track and manage assignment of tooling kits. Maybe you do blade repairs or something like this, and you have an entire trailer of tools you want to be able to track, right? And everything that's inside that. So this is the very beginnings of being able to create something like that. This kit could actually be a blade repair trailer with a number, and it would get a QR code you could stick on the trailer. And then you could scan that QR code, see what all components should be in there, and kind of do your inventory. And then also see who's the last person to use it, where is it located, that sort of stuff. So this is sort of the goal of this kit section. I think it's going to be a big piece of the application moving forward, and this is sort of a sneak preview of what to expect, and how it exists today and how we're going to continue to expand upon it. So, but for now, it's the basically on the initial kit form, it's the same as the equipment form. You can, what kind is it? Maybe it's the vehicle. The inspection is, maybe it's only annually or something. And you can actually assign this to a user as well. And you can assign this a form if you want to. If there's some sort of inspection that actually does need to occur on it, you can assign it a form. I'm not going to do that for the time being. And then we'll go ahead and assign this to a site, and we'll say the inspection, date is, I don't know, the 2nd of October. Again, with the kits, this inspection criteria may change over time, but to get it out the door and start getting some eyes on it, we opted to just sort of leave it as a representation of inspection for now. But this will start to evolve into inventory management and asset control as we move forward here. So once I've got my details in, I'm going to collapse this kit details, and then I have the ability to start adding components, right? So let's go ahead and just add a couple things. So if I click add component, we'll get this pop up here, and it's the same stuff, right? So every component has a name or whatever you call that, right? It could just be carabiner or rope or whatever. Typically with carabiners or ropes or um, things like that. Maybe they don't have serial numbers, but I know like ropes will often have like a lot number assigned to them. So you can track that here. Maybe it has no special identifying marks. Say like you have a tool bag and it's just a screwdriver. You could put the name, little information up here. It's not going to have any serial number. Um, but maybe it has a model number. You could add the model number in. And then lastly, expiration date for this as well. So the idea here is let's just add, since I was saying screwdriver, I'll add screwdriver. And none of this matters. So we'll go ahead and add component. And then in here, maybe I'll have say a DeWalt drill. And maybe these do have a serial number that's like, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the model number could be ABC 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure what DeWalt models are available, but you could always add that here. You could add that component. And you could go on and create all your components. So let's say I'll just add one more thing here, maybe a rope with a lot number of JF57. I just made that up, 578, because I fat fingered it. And no model number, no expiration date. We'll add that component. I'm like, oh, actually, the rope doesn't belong here. I can just click remove, and then that's it. We can go ahead and hit create, let it kick off and do its thing. It will take a couple seconds to go put all this data together, create the inspections, but once it's done, it'll forward you over to the page here. And so we've got a new kit, and what you'll notice is it's identical, right? It looks pretty similar to the standard look of a piece of equipment. The only difference really is this inspection log and this components thing has this tab section here. So on my components, I can actually see what are the components that make up this kit. And, we have the QR code here. One thing to note, each of these also do have a QR code that's generated. And in the next release of updates, there will be a way to view the QR code if you want the actual QR codes for each individual piece. You can absolutely get those as well. So every item within the kit will also have its own unique QR code, as well as if you wanted to use an RFID chip with them, you could also program an RFID chip for each individual thing, or you can mix and match, whatever makes sense for you. Or if you don't really care about every individual component, you can just operate with the top level RFID or QR code, or you could mix and match, however you wanted to do it. Maybe your drill you actually want a QR code on so you can scan it and see, hey, where does this thing belong? I just found it laying out in the shop and I need to know what kit it belongs to. I can scan the QR code or the RFID tag and then get the information about it, see what kit it belongs to, and go put it back in its home. And so one thing to note about that again is that they will have QR codes generated with them, and I've got a thing coming out that will allow you to actually view those here in the web portal if you want to. And then there you have the ability to edit every component if you want to. You can delete a component from a kit. So let's do this again. We'll add the rope. I forget what we said this was, like JF678 or something like that. So let's say we add this and we've got this rope added here. You can just as well delete it from the kit. You get a little confirmation here. Are you sure? You can't divert it or you can't revert it once you do it. Confirm the delete, and it will remove it from the kit for you. Um, and then you also have a way to, maybe the drill broke or something. It's not working anymore. You just want to mark it as failed. You can come in here and give some information as to what's going on. You can submit that. It'll mark this one as failed in the kit, and then you can add a new drill to the kit. So this has been designed to allow components to be replaceable and movable within kits so that as things degrade over time, need to be replaced, perhaps recalls come out, you can track all of that information in here without actually having to rebuild a kit or change a kit. Your kit itself stays the same, but you have the ability to manage the components individual. And then the inspection log is the exact same. There's nothing different here. If you need to do inspections on the kit, you can select a form, um, and this operates identical to every other piece of equipment. So awesome. That is the basic overview of the asset management section, and how you would go about managing all your equipment.